What a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below this video once it is rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show as this increases the live audience, of course, and that in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Ranty. How you doing, Ranty? Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Excellent stuff.
Can't stop for too long though.
Yeah, you got work on an Easter Sunday, amazingly.
And it's Easter Fool's Day as well.
Easter Fool's Day?
Yeah, April.
Oh yeah, it's the first. Oh yeah, 1st of April. I really need to contact my parents. It's their anniversary today.
Cool. Yeah, I've had a bit of a rush job on this guy. He's only around at the weekends, and obviously he's off tomorrow as well. And he's got his parents coming up next Thursday, so he wanted their bedroom painting, and then a feature wallpapered, which I thought would be fine. But then yesterday he threw the whole landing and stairs at me in the living room as well. So I've got to try and get all this done by tomorrow. So looks like I'm going to be grafting till probably 10 o'clock tonight, and then all day tomorrow as well.
That's no joy on an Easter. Have you got an Easter egg to take with you?
I hope he buys me an Easter egg. He should do. Bloody working on Easter Sunday of all days.
Yeah, I bought my neighbour an Easter egg, or I should say my wife did, for flooding her flat yesterday.
So what's been going on? I mean, I've not paid any attention for the last couple of days. What we're working.
Right, while you've been working, I woke up yesterday, and I don't know if you may or may not remember, about 3 days ago, there was a really loud motor outside while I was doing a show, and I was like, I can't talk, I can't hear you, there's a motor. So that carried on. And then since that's been there, which was a drain cleaning company, my drains are blocked. Hey, morning, Ruhif, good to have you. Stop talking about boring household things now you're here. How are you?
Eddie, hello.
Good. Have you brought some scientific proof of Earth curve with you?
No, I just left a comment for you to ask why is it impossible for you guys to actually create a model, like using observations from various people around the world?
Why is it impossible for 2,000 years of globe belief to provide any scientific proof?
We've already explained the proof for it, or the evidence for it.
Sorry, the scientific proof.
You have a distorted idea of what scientific proof means, by the way.
The scientific method and adherence to it.
Yeah, again, you have a distorted idea of what that actually means and what
really?
Scientists do.
What scientists do and what the scientific method are irrelevant. So is this going to be half an hour obfuscation while you dance around the fact that you don't have any scientific proof of Earth curvature after 2,000 years of globe understanding, Ruhif?
Like I said, we differ on what scientific evidence means. You're pulling out this quantum eraser, step by step, independent variable, blah, blah, blah. And that's not how it actually works in practice. Or very rarely that's how it works in practice.
Right, independent variable, that would be the cause, right?
Well, what I would say is a scientific model is coming up with a model or a hypothesis that you then test observations against.
All right, that wouldn't be the scientific method though, would it now?
Well, not according to you, no, that's my point.
Well, no, not according to the scientific method. Not according to... I haven't come up with the scientific method, Ruhif. That's not me.
Where did you get it from?
Science, that's the definition of science.
You got it from science. You got it from science.
I got it from quantum eraser. Is that an issue?
Quantum eraser, right.
Yeah, is that an issue that I've got it from quantum eraser? Does it redefine the scientific method because I've got it from quantum eraser or not?
Where did he get it from?
Who cares? Does it
care. I'm asking
redefine
a
the
question.
scientific method because Quantum Eraser has verbalized it? Does that change the scientific method in any way?
I need to see a source of where he got it from.
Sorry, do you not understand what the scientific method is?
No, I do.
All right, you've published, haven't you, Ruhif?
No, that is actually false.
You haven't published.
No, I've attempted to publish. That's what he was trying to say the other day.
Oh, my apologies. So,
Say
in
again?
either event, my definition of the scientific method is irrelevant. It's set in stone.
Where?
I mean, where?
Where?
Yeah, I'll send you
Where
an
is it set in
article.
stone?
No worries, Ruhif. I'll send you a little article.
Yep. Apologies for having dinner, by the way. How good does that look?
Is it? Oh, food. No, I'm not going to put that on.
And what's to go with like the, what is it, 9 o'clock over there?
It is?
What's to go with the early hangouts?
It's been up for several hours already.
Yeah.
Kids.
Hey, Mark Doxy.
Hello, gentlemen. You okay?
Hi, Mark. You all right?
Yeah, doing well, thanks.
We had a little chat the other day, didn't we? What did we
A
say?
little bit of chat, yeah. Do you want to address
Just have to look
something?
back and, yeah, I'm trying to go back and see what we talked about. Oh, that's right. I explained the Pic Gaspard and Fenestrelle and Grand Ferrand thing.
Okay. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. Do you want me to state it again, or do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead. You explain your observations and your conclusions. Don't be going down the Socratic road of asking questions.
Sure.
Just tell me.
Okay. So in the picture there are two mountains that are labelled by the photographer. One of them is Pic Gaspard, which is very tall and very far away. Grand Ferrand, which is closer and not as high. So the observer was on a mountain called Pic de Fenestrelle, and his altitude or elevation was 2,820. Grand Ferrand, which is the closer one, is slightly below that at 2,760 kilometers. So on a flat plane, you would be looking down at the top of that mountain.
No globe in the house. No globe in the house.
Hey, no globe. Can you mute
Hello?
Mark while you're just not talking? You're just causing quite a bit of echo. If
Yeah,
you're not
there's
talking,
an
just
echo.
pop yourself on mute. Not you,
so-
Ruhif.
Grand Ferrand would be slightly lower, so you'd be looking down below eye level to see it. Pic Gaspard is like a full kilometer, a full 1,000 meters higher than both the elevation of the observer and the other mountain. Therefore, on a flat plane, you would be looking up above eye level. Okay, so you've got looking up at Pic Gaspard, looking down at Grand Ferrand. If you actually look at the photo itself, Grand Ferrand is higher than Pic Gaspard. That cannot happen on a flat plane.
What's just happened here? I'm trying to share my screen.
All right, hang on. I can't stay long, by the way.
Sorry?
I can't stay long today. I've got like about 20
No worries.
minutes. Maybe.
Did you receive my document that I sent to you from teacher?
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Did you get that?
I saw a link here. One sec.
Can you share my screen?
Yeah, sure. I've put it in the chat for the people in the audience to have a look at as well.
Okay.
So Rochester University is where it's written in stone.
Well, it just details the scientific method.
Well, according to them, yes.
Oh, right. So now it's not just according to me or quantum eraser, it's according to university, but they're also questionable, are they, Ruhif?
There are many different ideas of what the scientific method means.
Right. So I've just
All of them
provided
can
you
be
one,
under
and you're telling
science.
me I've got a gross or a narrow interpretation of the scientific method. It's laid out in that paper.
Yeah, narrow.
Narrow,
is
yeah,
what I
right,
call it,
okay.
yeah.
It's set in stone.
Hang on, where's Mark?
I'm here.
All right, there you go. Yep, I can see your screen.
Can you see that picture I've got up?
Yep.
So that's talking about perspective, isn't it?
Yep.
The viewer's eye level. Anything lower than his eye level across that,
That's a nice picture.
he'd be looking downwards. And anything above his eye level, he'd be looking upwards.
Yeah.
Now, here's another bridge. This one's
Go back to that one. Go back to the
No,
First
go
one?
back to the.
Sorry, where do you want me to go?
Your audio is pretty bad, by the way. A lot of background noise.
Is it?
You have
No
headphones
globe.
on?
Me.
No, Mark.
It's
Oh,
probably
someone's
mine,
got background noise.
Oh, okay.
I think it's
Is it
Mark.
any better?
Is it me?
Possibly.
Can you hear me okay?
You're all good, just mute if you're not talking.
There we go. It was no globe. Yeah. All right, go Mark.
So that's clear. What you're applying something that's 275 miles away to this image here.
But are you looking at the light globes?
The sound is pretty bad this morning.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another picture as well. Hang on.
No, go back. Stay on this one.
All right.
Are you trying to say something about the light globes? Is that your point in this?
Well, I'm not going to answer any questions. I'm just going to tell you my observations and my conclusions. Okay.
Okay.
So there's another bridge in with a demonstration of perspective, but now it's on a curve. Same bridge on a curve. And that's the picture that you showed us.
Yep.
Okay, and then the same website shows this. Well, okay. This the hidden bit should be 5 kilometers theoretically. Now you're talking to me theoretically as well, to be able to spot the difference of 1 kilometer, and it's 275 miles away. So theoretically, it shouldn't even be there. The refractive.
No, you're ignoring refraction.
Yeah, I think so are you as well, aren't you?
No. We're not automatically assuming that it's a holographic apparition of something that isn't there. That's what we're doing. So it shouldn't be there on a globe. It's gone. It's obscured. It's hidden by Earth curve. It's dropped below your feet. All of those things, Ruhif. So just
we've been through this. That's why we're just talking about.
You're saying you've just said we're ignoring refraction. So presumably you have a whole stack of evidence. You have a whole stack of evidence for the refractive effects for all of these pictures that you can now demonstrate and evidence. So rather than just saying we're ignoring something that we have no evidence of, let's see your evidence of all the refraction that occurs in this picture.
I don't have time for derailing.
Don't have time? You mean you don't have any evidence? That's what you mean, Ruhif. You're saying we're ignoring something that you haven't evidenced in any way, shape or form. It's like standing in a judge and saying, you're ignoring the fact that I didn't do it. Well, prove that you didn't do it. Prove that it hasn't happened. Prove that there's refraction in this picture, as opposed to just asserting it, or worse, telling me that I'm ignoring it. Why am I ignoring it? What exactly am I ignoring? The mountains of evidence that prove that light curves around the Earth? Is that what I'm ignoring?
Let's just let Mark speak. So I only have about 15 more minutes.
Let me make my conclusion, Nathan.
Sorry.
Off the same website, there's this picture as well of 2 distant things in the background, and the distance of the height and the distance. But right next to it, you've got the sun as well. And the sun is never that shape in real life, is it? But it's obviously distorted. Anything that's on the horizon is subject to a lot of distortion. So even if we could see it, we're looking at something that's very badly refracted. So I'm not buying your story that you can measure something that's 1 kilometer difference over 275 miles when you get distortion like I'm displaying at this.
No, it's not a matter of measuring 1 kilometer. It's a matter of saying one is higher or lower relative to the other, which is obvious in the photo, right?
My concluding point is the picture that's up now, you can obviously see there's distortion because the sun is all like It's not a conclusive argument. You're talking theoretically when we know that it shouldn't be there anyway.
If you ignore refraction, which you're doing, of course.
What? No, you're not evidencing that it bends
we're
around
talking
the
about a
Earth,
flat plane,
Ruhif.
Nathan.
What are we ignoring? We're ignoring your assumption of refraction. That's what we're ignoring.
We're not even talking about a globe. We're talking what you should see on a flat plane.
No, we're talking about what shouldn't be there. You said you're ignoring refraction. Now you're assuming that light bends around a curve of the Earth, correct, Ruhif? That's what you're telling me I'm ignoring, right?
That was robotic. Say it again.
So you're telling us that we're ignoring refraction, meaning we're ignoring light bending around the curve of the Earth, right? That's why when he said it's not there in theory, and you said you're ignoring refraction, what you actually meant to say was, please assume that refraction is occurring, because I assume it's occurring, so you should too.
We're not even discussing a globe yet.
Well, why when he said earlier, Ruhif, so he said earlier, this stuff's all gone. None of this stuff's there, and you're doing maths on it, and you said you're ignoring refraction.
We're not even discussing a globe yet, Nathan.
Yeah, when he said, I'll say it again, Ruhif, he said all this stuff's gone. Geometrically, it's gone around the curve of the Earth. He said it's all gone, and you told him he was ignoring refraction. So are you telling me now that we wasn't talking about a globe when he said it was all gone?
Is that Aaron?
He's talking about a globe. I'm establishing what you should.
Right, so when he was talking about a globe and you told him he was ignoring refraction, we were in fact talking about a globe then, Ruhif. So don't obfuscate my point. My point being that you're demanding that we assume light bends around a sphere Earth. Correct?
No. The point
So when he said, all this stuff is gone, and you said, you're ignoring refraction, what were you referring to?
Thank you. Cheers, no globe.
So what were you referring to when he said, all this stuff's gone, and you said you're ignoring refraction? What exactly were you referring to then? A flat plane?
No, he started on the globe. I'm trying to establish what we should see on a flat plane.
Right, and when he said, I'll say it a third time, Ruhif, all this stuff is gone, you told him he was ignoring refraction. And I'll say it again. What you actually mean is you are ignoring my assumption that light bends around the curve of the Earth. That's what you actually mean.
Okay. I have a model of a globe that includes refraction.
That includes an assumption of refraction, yes.
Have some sort of model.
I know this. Telling me that you have a model that assumes the Earth is a sphere and assumes that light bends around it. Why are you telling me this? That's my point. I'm pointing out this assumption to you.
I'm trying to establish what we should or should not see on a flat plane.
Right, well, he's trying to establish what we shouldn't see on a globe, and none of it should be here. None of it should be visible. It's all gone. It's all gone, Ruhif. Gone. Not there, not visible. Apparitions, ghosts, all that sort of stuff.
Apparitions.
Yeah, apparitions.
It's an honor.
Is Pic Gaspard a apparition on the flat plane?
No. On a globe, it's
I
gone.
see it because it's there.
Why isn't it higher?
Simple.
Why isn't it higher? Why is it not higher than Grand
The
Toronto?
fact that I shouldn't see it regardless of your maths.
Yeah. Doing
This
maths
has
on
nothing
ghosts.
to do with the globe. What
Doing
should we
maths
see
on
on a flat
ghosts.
plane?
It's not even there in your model. It's gone. But you're asking us why it's
care.
different height.
I don't care about my model right now. I don't care about my model right now.
Right, I do. It's a flat Earth debate. You're on that side of the argument, Ruhif.
Yeah, let's do the flat Earth.
All right, we don't have scientific standards to prove flat Earth. You do. The entire body of science is apparently behind you. So you tell us.
This is a question of testing two models. Let's test the flat Earth model, and then we'll test the globe.
Nah, let's test the globe model, because the globe model's had 2,000 years to establish scientific proof of its existence. So I'm more interested in you, acclaimed scientist, showing me scientific proof of something that's been assumed for 2,000 years.
Science. I don't know whether that makes me a scientist.
So, I think the direct definition of cognitive dissonance is not listening to the other side of the story and then just coming up with some sort of conclusion that's based on no evidence whatsoever.
Like
so let's hear both sides.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's do flat Earth first, because that's what the question was about.
If we were talking about something that was within half a mile away, then you've got an argument. But you're talking about something that's 275 miles away, and the picture I've got up on the screen now shows how distorted the sun is on the horizon. So you can't use that picture describe looking up or looking down. Far too far away. There's too much distortion from the horizon.
On a flat plane without refraction, should Pic Gaspard be above?
But that's not what we're saying. You're talking theoretically. On paper, yes. On paper.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Now, can you explain why it does not appear higher?
Because of the picture I'm showing right now. You don't come to reality. In theory, yes. In reality, is that
you're relying on some pretty extreme. You're relying on some very extreme optical effects.
Really? Over 275 miles, there's not going to be any optical effects?
Is this an optical effect? This side of my face is shining and not the other side right here? Is that cool?
Pretty extreme
refraction.
No
light doesn't travel forever. Simply,
how far away
E does not equal MC squared.
The image that you're showing, Ruif, of those mountains, it's not an argument because it's too far away and we can demonstrate optical effects over that distance. As the
distance on a flat plane. The distance on a flat plane does not change the angle of elevation.
Sorry, does it change this sun from being circular though?
You're showing me a real photograph. You're not showing me a diagram on a piece of paper. It's a real photograph, and it's subject to.
And mathematics can be used to model reality. Is there a problem?
Listen, we're not going to shift on this, are we? And my conclusion is there's too much optical illusion to make any measurement on that picture that you showed us.
You're getting very close to what's the word? Depending on refraction, there, Mark.
Sorry, you tell us that we must use refraction. We must assume that it bends around the Earth 76R. And yet, when we can physically show you really obvious effects of a sun that is normally circular, squashed into this shape here, and you're saying you're coming dangerously close to depending on these refractive effects, they're obvious, man. Look at them. You can see them.
Yo, 76R is so great. What happened to 87R? What's about 87R?
What's wrong with 87R?
What's wrong with it? I mean, I don't know, so I'm trying to figure it out.
You've got 14% versus 16.7%. What's the problem?
Nathan?
Come on, no Globe. I think you just fell in it.
I'm not saving you there if you say 8 sevenths.
Yeah, he's just was saving that one.
But yeah, the point Mark's making though is that there's obvious effects of distortion, a bit like at the horizon. Yeah, in most pictures you see this. Well, at this distance, everything's at the horizon. It's all forced by perspective to be in this band of distortion, and it's obvious. You can see it.
Does refraction make Pic Gaspard be lower than Grand Ferrand?
I mean, the simple fact that the atmosphere rises to like
hold on, no, let's just ask Ruhif. Does refraction make a circular sun?
Have you taken a theodolite and actually measured that?
Sorry, this sun, Ruhif, do you see the sun on this picture? Does the sun usually look like that? Does it normally have a flat top or semi-flat top? Or is it normally pretty circular?
No.
Answer the question.
We both acknowledge that. Some non-standard refractive event.
Sorry, no. Non-standard refraction is bullshit that you use to bring things that aren't in the slightest bit distorted back from beyond the curve. That's your assumption. That's what you use. You don't demonstrate it with any visual evidence. You don't prove it. In this, it is visually obvious that stuff is being squashed.
I have $1 for every time you say that. I have
lower than Grand Ferrand.
Yeah, the sun, the top of the sun. Would you say that this is lower than the normal circular sun? Or would you say that suns are always squashed flat like this?
No, it's not always squashed. I'm not sure that it's lower.
You're not sure if this sun is lower? You think this is a perfectly circular sun, do you, Ruhif? Or would you say it's slightly, what's the word? Squashed. Would you say it's slightly squashed, Ruhif, this sun?
Yeah.
You would. There's your answer. There's your answer, mate. It's slightly squashed. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so there's some pretty extreme refractive events happening there, right?
As obviously demonstratable in the photograph. So again, when you want to convert 76R into an assumption that light is bending around a curve of the Earth, is there ever any evidence of that occurring? Like there is in this picture, you're asking how the mountain's lower, it's squashed, Ruhif. obvious. You can see from
Why
the
is it
sun
squashed
being
lower than
squashed,
Grand
right?
Why is Grand Front not squashed?
It's called an optical.
No, listen, you have to explain radio waves. Radio waves are being detected, they're being connected over long periods, like long distances.
Yeah.
Simple.
Do
Simple.
you
They're being
accept that
connected.
radio waves travel long distances?
Well, I mean, why wouldn't they?
It's me.
Why wouldn't light?
Hello.
I mean,
Hey, Tim.
sorry. Aren't radio waves linear like lasers?
Aren't they? Yeah. Well, they're all electromagnetic spectrum waves. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the curvature should extract that connection.
Which connect? I'm not sure what connection you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Can I just
Radio
come back
waves.
Yeah, radio
No,
waves
yeah.
between where and where? Oh, hello.
Well, okay, fine. I'm just basing my assumption over here on the YouTube.
It's gone mute.
I'm sorry.
All right. I got about 5 minutes left.
Ruth, you presented an image to shake our position of a flat Earth, and yet you can see on the image that's up now, it's not a good argument. You've not presented a good argument at all.
I can't tell.
A theodolite cannot do any accurate measurements over 200 miles, and you know that.
It will tell you easily. What do you think the angle to Pic Gaspard should be?
Look at that distortion on that.
Positive or negative?
It's all squashed through here. It's all squashed.
On paper,
It's all squashed in the picture.
on paper in theory, but you're presenting something.
This is very simple, like a basic trig, right?
Say that again.
What angle should Pic Gaspard be at relative to horizontal eye level?
Who cares?
On
It's
a
all
flat
squashed in the picture. You can't really measure it. It's all squashed through here. Obviously, you can see it, right?
Not on
The
this
sun,
picture.
that's not circular anymore, is it?
Would
Normally,
you be happy
the
enough to
sun's
use a
circular.
theodolite over 200 miles and clearly seeing distortion and optical illusion?
Would I be happy to see it over 275 miles?
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah, I could clearly see that the mountains would be well below eye level, of course.
Okay, all right. You're not shifting, are you? The argument that you put forward.
It's a pretty simple question. Like,
argument that you
should you
put
look
forward-
up to this mountain or down to the mountain?
It's
The argument you
squashed.
put forward
Squashed.
ignores the depth and also ignores optical illusion. So that's the end of the story. You're not going to shift on that. You're using something that's.
I don't think you guys are either.
Well, no,
Yeah,
because it's
man, I just
visually
want-
obvious, Ruhif. So as stuff gets further away, it gets closer to the horizon. As it gets closer to the horizon, it gets closer to this band of distortion that we've absolutely established is there. In almost every single photograph at distance, you see this squashing effect at the horizon. And the further stuff is away, the closer to the horizon it gets, the more likely it's going to suffer this distortion. So this stuff is clearly right on the horizon. And what do you know? We've got a really useful, normally obviously circular item right next to them to reference whether or not there's any squashing going on. And what do you know? There is. It's really obvious.
Where is the center of the sun?
Yeah, who cares?
In that
It's
image.
squashed. It's not
That's
what the
the
sun
one.
looks like
Go
normally.
on.
It's
You guys are
squashed.
the best.
Did you just say we don't see it because it's there?
We do see it, and I would say we
Oh, you
see
do
it
see it.
because
So
it's
it is
there,
there.
but it is obviously
there.
distorted. Obviously.
Okay, where at what angle?
On the center
At
of the
what angle of elevation is the center of that sun?
Really,
see
you
the
put
centre
your
of the sun.
crosshairs on the center of the sun in that picture, and where are you going to put it?
Oh, below the horizon. But I
female
want
or
to.
male?
I want Nathan to say that.
So,
Is the
sorry.
center of that sun below the horizon?
No idea. It's all squashed. It's distorted.
It's all squashed.
Yeah.
So the bottom half of that sun
misshapen.
is.
Sleeping
No,
Warrior?
it's misshapen.
Welcome.
Hey, Sleepy
Good
Warrior,
morning.
how you doing? Can you hear us?
Hello, Anthony.
Anthony.
Is the bottom half of that sun squashed into those, few pixels of horizon? Is that what you're saying?
Well, let's
You can
use the word
see it.
distortion.
Why are you asking us to tell you when it is obvious? Like,
Right,
really,
I have to rage
really
quit now.
obvious.
Can I rage quit?
You knew you were going anyway, so it's not a rage quit, you liar. Thank you, Ruhif. You've been wonderful,
Good night.
as always.
No, don't leave. No, why did he leave?
He was due to leave anyway. He wasn't rage quitting. He was due to leave anyway.
Sleeping Warrior, it's a pleasure.
Tim, you've been waiting in the wings for a while. Have you got something you want to show us?
Yeah, another one of Ranty's observations.
Sure. It's up. You're on screen. Go ahead.
Who, me?
Yeah, I've got you presented if you want to tell us about something.
Oh, no, I just took some pictures of the moon. It's like 2:30 right now.
Nice. These are your pictures.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thanks. P900 is a pretty nice camera.
Sleeping Warrior, where are you?
I'm here, man. I'm here.
Oh, so who's talking right now about the moon?
It sounds
Timmy
like
Osman.
Okay. Where are you located? I'm in Chicago.
Utah.
Okay. That's all.
Thanks, man.
Hmm?
Isn't it weird how you get this definition on the edges?
Yeah, it's crazy on the edges, man. Picks up a lot. The left side, not so much, though.
Yeah, I always find it interesting how it appears to be in different resolutions. One half of the moon appears to be sharp, crisp, defined. The other half appears to be soft, blurred, different resolution. I find that impossible on a ball.
You find everything impossible, dude. You're such a goof, bro.
So, would you disagree with that statement that the moon appears to be sharp, chiseled, clear on one side, but blurred, soft,
And
fuzzy on the other?
impossible is it? The words enunciated impossible because there's just no. I mean, my pizza's flat. I have yet to experience a spherical pizza. I'm so sorry. Love you guys.
Hang on. Could I just ask Tim for an answer for that? It was a straightforward, closed question. Do you disagree with the statement that half of the moon appears to be sharp, crisp, clear, whereas the other half appears to be soft, shit, rubbishy? Do you disagree with that statement, Tim?
Well, in the northern hemisphere, obviously, what I would perceive as the left side is just like a different texture than the more cratery looking side on the right, I guess you could say.
Right. Does that seem consistent with something that's supposed to be the fixed distance away? And I mean, look at the clarity on the right-hand side compared to the softness on the left-hand side. Can you show any other explanation, any other object where you could get that effect?
Probably the camera, just picking up different, because this is lighter on the right side.
Yeah, it definitely does the same thing through a telescope.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Was that no? Could you show any other any other item that's been photographed anywhere where there's a mixed level of what appears to be a focal effect?
I don't have anything that would resemble the moon, truthfully.
It defies the laws of physics then, and optics. I would suggest.
It's kind of an anomalous thing, I guess.
Not really. It's kind of focal to the point. Like, if you can't get the thing in a consistent focus, then something else is going on. It's not something that is consistent with normal photography. I might not be a ball.
These are your pictures as well.
No, I would.
These are amazing.
Yeah.
These are really good.
Oh, thanks, man. I got a couple different cameras. I don't use the P900 for anything but far zoom, really. These are with the Nikon D3200.
This is
different lenses.
Is this Colorado?
No, I'm in Utah.
Utah.
Yeah. It's absolutely, it's gorgeous here. It's like in a valley of pretty much 360-degree mountains all around you. And they're close, too.
The D3200 is a much better camera.
You think so?
Yeah, sensor size is huge.
Yeah, the sensor's much. Yeah. I have a 300 mil lens, but the 600 mil is like $3,000. I haven't really wanted to invest in that, but I bet I'd get some nasty pictures of the moon with that.
I'm really quite jealous looking at this. If this is where you live, I mean, it is absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah, dude, this is an everyday thing.
Nice.
It is kind of
The depth of field
interesting.
is brilliant.
What's that?
The depth of field you've got going on there is brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, the D3200 is kind of an underrated camera, truthfully. But you slap a nice lens on it, and it's really,
The one that you dropped.
really nice. But yeah, I've been getting into a little bit more photography on the sphere Earth. It's a really good place to do it at, truthfully.
I think the reason your pictures of the moon are so good is because there's presumably no streetlights or anything around you, so you just got virtually no light pollution to screw this picture up.
Yeah, actually on Monday, which is I guess pretty much tomorrow, I'll be going and doing an ISS transit, but I'm trying to get a pretty high elevation. I'm gonna go on kind of a mountain and see if I can get some good shots of it, like a super clear, possibly.
Awesome. Use your P900. You might be able to see the spacemen inside.
That would be interesting if they ever did like a spacewalk. I've heard that there's actually like film where somebody caught it with their telescope or something of them, like their outline of the spaceman, but I I don't know about that one.
The outline of the spaceman.
I know.
Yeah.
You're trolling.
He was giving a thumbs up too. You could see it, man.
Yeah.
For anybody not sure, Tim's joking. That doesn't really exist. He is trolling.
I wonder, man. I've heard of it. I forgot if I seen it or not. But you wouldn't see like crazy clarity, I wouldn't think.
I mean, it's a similar distance. That's long distance mountain photography we were looking at. So they're about 250 miles up, aren't they? Is that right? The ISS.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's similar sort of distances.
I wanted to ask Ruhif before he disappeared. Had he put the observation that he was, questioning with the two mountains? I wanted to ask him had he demonstrated it to himself on Peak Finder, and if he had, could we see it? Because I'm sure on Peak Finder you have to pick yourself up to a huge elevation to do it.
Yeah, but you're ignoring refraction.
Yeah.
You must automatically assume that light's bending around bringing this stuff back if it's not there, mate. Didn't you know that?
You watched that video that you posted a comment on Theo the Flea Light or whatever it was. The boats one that doesn't drop behind the curve. He just can't understand how you can have the view that you have. And I'm like, because you can see that the boats are not dropping behind the curve.
I don't like boat proofs. I've got to be honest. Landmarks are miles better. Things like lighthouses. They're fixed. Boats aren't fixed. You can get it wrong. You can identify them wrong. You can get the position wrong. You're relying on GPS to know where they are. I don't know. I just don't like them.
Nathan, how long have you been live?
Let's have a look. 40 minutes.
Did you wet the bed?
Did I wet the bed? No.
9 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
It's chocolate for
Yeah, I
breakfast.
was up at 7. Kids, man. You never get an early morning. You never get a lion ever again.
I guess I've never asked you, Riley, what's your explanation for why the sun doesn't change in angular size throughout the day and then sets from bottom up? Is it the dirty
Partly, but is it okay if I ask you a question in response? Do you accept that as you gain in elevation, both the sun and the moon reduce in apparent size because of the effects of the atmosphere?
I don't have any evidence of that.
You've not seen that before?
Mm-mm.
It's definitely
When
out
you're
there.
high.
You can definitely
But
find
what are you
videos of that.
talking about, as a person or like a
No,
camera?
when you look at the footage on you know, the high altitude balloons, the moon and the sun appear to be like peas in the sky, whereas we see them as like basketballs, like soundly basketballs. But that reduction in size by just gain in altitude, logically and reasonably, you would assume that they would get bigger because you're getting closer to them, especially the moon. But that doesn't happen. That's the opposite way around. So the assertion or the question, why doesn't the angular size reduce as the day goes on or as the sun sets? My question would be, well, why would you expect it to if we observe the sun and the moon shrinking significantly as we change our status in the atmosphere? In other words, it's an optical effect that caused by our atmosphere that keeps the sun the way it is. Probably the firmament.
You're trolling now. But I'm wondering, so you're saying they have the moon on this camera as it's near the ground or on the ground, and then it goes up and it seems to get smaller in the same camera, same field of view.
The moon does get smaller. Into what? Yeah, let go. Sorry, I've just been asked to do something.
While you're,
because I mean, it sounds like you're saying like from your eyesight from the ground or
no,
something.
Optically, as you raise your elevation, the sun and the moon appear to shrink due to the effects of the atmosphere changing its density layer. As you go up in the atmosphere, you reduce the density that you're in. The density layer.
Hey guys.
And you begin to reduce the effect of refraction.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second. I don't think there's any evidence of that, truthfully.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you that there's plenty out there. If you're not familiar with it, perhaps consider it
because you said the moon and the sun, and I've never seen the sun being observed with a solar filter on a balloon ever.
No, but you can tell by the reduction in the glare, even if it's the glare that you're looking at, that there is a significant, prominent, and obvious reduction in glare size, be it the sun or glare. It drops significantly in size, which therefore tells me that when you're at the ground, you're looking at a magnified sun in some way. And therefore, whatever the actual size of the sun is, we're looking at an apparent sun, which is what part of the reason why all the observations to do with trigonometry and the sun are all a bit fallacious, because we're not looking at the actual sun. We're looking at a magnified and enhanced size of the sun. We're not looking at the real thing. But in any event, to answer your question specifically, it appears that the sun and the moon shrink in size as you go up in elevation, indicating that we're looking at an optical representation of the sun, not the actual sun itself.
What about the other half of his question?
What was the other half?
Why does it disappear bottom first when it reaches the horizon?
Dirty air, man. They spent 4 minutes on that documentary talking about it. They even gave it their own name as well. They didn't come up with something as ingenious as dirty air, but they did notice that there was this optical effect on the horizon that blocks and obstructs things from the bottom up. And they gave it a particular, more scientifically sounding name. But they spent 3 or 4 minutes on it, and I was humbled that they'd noticed the same thing that I'd noticed and also decided to give it a different name. So the answer to the question is, why does it disappear from the bottom up? Dirty air, baby.
It's not dirty air. That's total nonsense. So
it's what we see.
Well, okay, so when Ruha presented that picture at 250 miles, right, and then you compare and contrast that, obviously it's not the same mountain, but to the mountains that Tim Osman showed us. Obviously the Tim Mountains are considerably higher in the picture, right? Now, as you get further away from stuff, it gets closer and closer to the horizon and disappears bottom first until it vanishes completely. So if you were to go another 100 miles away from that picture that Ruhif had up earlier, those mountains would disappear.
Well, what evidence is there that things disappear bottom first as they go towards the horizon that are based on the Earth?
Yeah, perspective. We see it in every single photo. Everything's disappearing bottom first as you get further and further away from it. And as you eventually get to the point where it vanishes, i.e. the vanishing point, that is why the sun disappears. It's beyond the vanishing point. So, as it gets closer and closer to the horizon, regardless of its altitude in the sky, it is going to get closer to the horizon, and it is going to disappear bottom first until it goes beyond the vanishing point. Then it disappears completely. Nothing to do with going around the curve of Earth, everything to do with perspective. Maybe there's a little bit of refraction going on, that's why we see the distortions, but that's not why it disappears bottom first. That's perspective.
But perspective, I've said this before, I feel like, I don't know, but perspective has, unless it's perspective, because perspective has nothing to do with, all it has to do is with horizontal and diagonal, or I'm actually vertical rather, I'm pretty tired. Getting smaller, nothing in perspective, you'll have to make up a new word for it, says that things disappear from bottom up.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I did make up a new word for it.
Yeah, it does. So those mountains that Ruhif showed, if you were at 3 miles from those mountains, they'd be huge and you'd see the bottoms of them. At 250 miles, you don't. You see the tippy tops of them on the horizon. So they have unequivocally disappeared bottom first.
I don't think that has anything to do with perspective, though. Things being obstructed and then disappearing as you get further away from it.
That's what perspective is.
What definition are you going on?
Things get smaller as you get further away from them. Things in the distance
so with
get
that,
smaller
with that same
till they
logic,
reach
why
a
doesn't the sun
vanishing
change?
Point. But that's
and
the
get smaller?
definition. That's the definition of perspective.
But why doesn't the sun and moon get drastically differently smaller? And why isn't it biggest overhead?
They do.
Because the sun and the moon are not on our terrain.
But they do get smaller. As they get towards the horizon, they vanish out completely. It doesn't just suddenly blink out of existence from being one size, does it?
Sorry, guys. My father's on hospice care for the remainder of his days, so thank you.
Are you dropping out? Are you leaving us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. My father's on hospice care, so he's living out the rest of his days in my household. Thank you.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's terrible. But in any event, yes. So what we're detailing when things get smaller in the distance is perspective.
Yeah, so I mean, why doesn't the sun and the moon, why aren't they biggest overhead and then start trailing off on a flat Earth and then set?
That's a good question. I mean, I could use the ad hoc Gishgallop that lots of other flat earthers use, but I'm not going to. I don't know.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, I've just answered that. I don't see why you're asking the question again. I told you that there is plenty of evidence that shows that the sun and the moon reduce significantly in size at altitude. So your perception that there is no angular change in regards to the size over the day, well, you're looking at something that's been magnified by our atmosphere. You're not looking at something that's actually in position. So the atmosphere itself is magnifying that which you see, that which we see, that which we can measure. But is that a fair statement to make, given that you're not looking at something that's actual, you're looking at something that's apparent and is being affected by our atmosphere?
Well, first of all, you've just asserted that as you go up, and you don't have any evidence of this because it's not true. The sun and the moon get smaller as you go up. That's just, I mean,
How do you know?
I was just going to ask the same question. How do you know?
How do you know this?
Where's the evidence of it?
Oh, I don't do evidence. I only do rhetoric.
Okay. Well, your rhetoric's wrong and you're just asserting things.
Yeah, sounds a bit like someone I know.
Well, I'm backed. I'm backed by the known science.
Dogma?
Assumption?
You can call it that.
2,000 years
Well,
without
just to let
proof.
you guys know, just to reiterate to the new viewers that and the chatters here I don't know about. I'm a professed Christian, and I firmly believe in the Word of God, and I'm also a literal creationist, which I found out today. Thank you.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I wouldn't
No
go.
problem.
I wouldn't go preaching that one. That's going to make you lots of friends on flat Earth. Just not because they're anti-religion, but more because the idea of religion fueling your views or beliefs is not empirical, and therefore it's not a strong perception to have.
Religion's different. No, I mean, you're stating religion. Religion is a state. We're talking about religion. Religion is one thing. Creation is another.
Yeah, but what you're doing though is you're ranking yourself alongside Tim, for example, who doesn't do evidence. Tim does beliefs, religious beliefs, if call it what you will.
Well, because God created the mere effect that we're having this conversation right now, consciousness. So that's evidence of God. So he's able to do and distort and manipulate matter to his will.
That's a good point. Consciousness is evidence of God. I haven't thought of that one before.
It's just an assertion that no one can prove.
Well, who is it that's got the ISS spacewalk on screen right now?
It's
Is that Tim?
Bubbles in space. Bubbles in space.
Tim, why don't you just go to YouTube and then search for any high altitude balloon footage and observe the size of the moon and the sun?
Because, like I said before, I've never, and I'm sure they're probably, I don't even know. Are you claiming that they have solar filters on them for the sun?
No, I was very clear with what I said. The moon and the sun appear to drop their size significantly, observably, evidently on all the high altitude balloon footages.
Yeah, well, with the sun in particular, you would definitely need a solar filter.
Okay, well, there's another celestial body up there that you can look at that you don't.
Well, I thought you would have evidence. I have to look for the sun. I mean, what do I put? The moon changing in angular size as you raise in altitude?
Balloon footage.
Should I troll through a bunch of footage?
You can just put high altitude balloon footage. Don't lead it in any particular bias. Just leave it neutral and just observe for your own two eyes. Just look how small the moon looks. Looks like a pinprick in the sky.
So I have to find the one that shows the moon as it's lifting off.
No, you can pick any. Pick any of them.
So I'm just saying, I don't.
That one there. Yeah, click that because the moon's in the shot. So just find one of the frames with the moon in it, and then tell me, does that look equal to, smaller than, or greater than the moon that we see on the ground?
You make it full screen.
No, it's not about we seeing on the ground, though.
Yeah, of course it is. It's optical, Tim.
It's not.
There's an atmosphere that we're looking through.
It is optical. Yeah, I agree. It is optical. So we would have to use this same optics to first observe the moon and then go up in atmosphere and then observe the moon again.
You have the times, like the time scale on your thing. All you got to do now is find where the moon is.
So we're looking at the sun.
I miss Arwen. No offense, Nathan.
You miss Arwen? We all miss Arwen.
Dude, Arwen's the best with the silent J. Epic.
Yeah, see, this is what I thought I would be doing, is just trolling through. This one doesn't even have the moon.
Well, it looked like it did because it was there on the. See you later, Mark.
Thanks.
That looked like the sun.
Mark, welcome.
No, he's just dropped.
I read that wrong.
Perhaps if I shared my screen, I could do it for you, Tim, because I understand that it's early in the morning for you.
I don't care who finds it. If you can find a picture of the moon looking smaller at altitude, I'll be elated.
I'll do it.
We're just talking about that. The moon appears to be same size, regardless of observer.
I just still don't think that is irrelevant. I mean, really, to the question that I asked, I don't think that's relevant. Like, why does the sun from the observer...
Can I ask you something?
Sun and the moon from the observer on the Earth does not change in angular size throughout the day. The moon, a very, very fractional amount. But then it goes to the horizon, and disappears from bottom up on the horizon. That has nothing to do with altitude. Has nothing to do with your predictions or your theories.
No, but it has a lot to do with the atmospheric effect.
Well, you're still in the same atmosphere, right? As on the river and the ground.
The horizon should not raise to eye level. It should drop and curve. Period.
He's right, Tim.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, there's no more debate.
The horizon doesn't rise to eye level, so maybe you should get your facts straight.
Not far off it though, is it? A degree or two should be significantly more as you gain in altitude.
I mean, refraction might give you the illusion of a curve, which is convenient to you guys, but that's just refraction. No, maybe.
I usually like.
Do you believe in?
I'm still looking for like a flat earther that has like actual points instead of like reading off of Eric Dubé's list.
We're still looking for like all earthers with actual
or just like conjecture, you know.
Eric Dubé list. What's that?
Yeah, the horizon rises to eye level is Eric Dubé propaganda. That's where it started.
Also true.
It's not true.
No. It's high altitude balloons that show me that.
Okay, so you're saying a high altitude balloon is you know when it's 90 degrees parallel to the ground to make that assessment? Is that what you're saying?
You can't have both concave and curvature. I mean, if there's no fisheye lens,
I agree. Actually, the fisheye lens will not make a flat surface into concave and curve.
It should drop and curve. That's it. Drop and curve, regardless of anything. Regardless of anything, the vacuum cannot be attached to the atmosphere, even if this was an vacuum without a firmament. Because it would just be sucked out of the earth. What? Propellants don't work in a vacuum. Sound does not propagate in a vacuum. What else? A vacuum. You can't do nothing in a vacuum. Nothing. Neutral. Nothing happens in the vacuum because there's nothing to go off of anything, to go off of anything, to go off of anything. There's nothing.
I'm with you on the drop and curve. Yeah, it should. It should absolutely curve and drop as you go up in altitude.
This video, well, there's also been non-fisheye wide-angle lenses that have gone up, and it shows a curve, and it's just not enough curve for you. Or
refraction.
Yeah, it's refraction.
Given the position of the sun, yes, of course. Because if you draw a straight line, the atmosphere is gonna give you one thing. But what's actually there? The question is what actually is at that point that we're looking at? What's happening there without the distortions, with all those things? You know.
So this one, Riley, actually says the exact opposite of what you're saying. It says that it's 4 times bigger, the sun, when it's high altitude as opposed to lower altitude.
In the description.
You pop your screen on full again, Tim.
High altitude balloon, what was that? Catches sun increased size by 4 times.
Okay, so let's look at the part where it shows the evidence that supports that assertion.
Well, first of all, I'm not using this as evidence, but
yeah,
I'm just using. No, I'm not
right now.
No, I'm making the claim, and I have already, that you shouldn't
evidences.
do this.
Can you let him finish?
No, evidences. No, you shouldn't do this without a solar filter when looking at the sun. The moon would be a little bit better, but not the sun.
And you have first knowledge of this, right? First knowledge. You have the equipment to verify that and jot it on paper before anyone else looks at it.
The sun has rays, and how optics works and how focus works.
Well, I mean, you're assuming that photons are either a wave or a particle when they're neither.
No, I've never assumed that. I just know how cameras work.
And how do cameras work? Explain that. Thank you.
Yeah, if you're going to do an angular size...
because what I want people to do
hold on, you've just
is that if they're going to talk about maps...
Hold on.
Go into the maps.
A direct question. You're give him 10 seconds and less, 5 seconds to answer, then interrupt him. You've got to give him a chance to actually answer your direct question.
That's true. Apologize.
So if you want to do an angular size difference or comparison on the ground, you would put a solar filter on and do it from, I guess, sunrise and at the zenith point over your head and before it's setting, basically. So you'll get the sun not changing angular size at all, and then it sets from bottom up. And why you use a solar filter is because your camera is going to freak out when it's looking straight into the sun. And really, you should actually use a solar filter on a camera anyway, because it's not good for the optics to just look straight into the sun. So
we've got about an hour left on this live stream. Hope you're all enjoying the debate thus far. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you're currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules. Please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. Please also share the show, as this increases the live audience, of course, and that in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There is approximately 1 hour left on this live stream.
So anyway, I should get a flatty for wasting the most time. I agree. Thanks, Dave Hinkle. I guess at the end of the day, if the Earth is a sphere, flat earthers and every flat Earth piece of material that you've watched have effectively wasted your time in your own dogmatic delusions. So,
yeah, but do you know what? Even if that turns out to be the case, I've enjoyed the ride because
it's been fun.
For me, it's like,
well, you know what? I have to say one thing and one thing alone is that when all this is said and done, guys, and everyone has their opinion and their belief, because no matter how hard you believe doesn't make it a fact, is that every knee will bow, every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. And that's the only thing that matters.
Dude's a Poe. Total troll. It's trolling, dude.
Nathan can verify that I'm not a troll, and so can Arwen if he was on here.
Arwigen? That's too bad. Where is Arwigen?
It's dogma more than I like listening to other people's dogma. To be honest, it's a breach. It's a change from the norm.
I guess if you like that stuff.
Not particularly like it, but it just changes the record because it's different dogma. Do you know what I'm actually trying to find? I'm still trying to find like some footage where the moon is actually in the footage from high altitude. Now, because I want to find some, can't find any.
Yeah, you're not gonna find any.
Yeah, well,
one of the
out there.
Best ones for flat earthers to watch would be the Morgiles video with the high altitude, where he thought the moon was the sun, and you can actually see the stars from high altitude, and that has to do with the aperture, or the exposure rather. So this is just another example of people not understanding how optics actually work. If we had Arwen in here, he could definitely fill us in, man. I know he could. Arwen's got the optics down, man. Back of his hand. I really don't think there's any getting through to most of these people. I do appreciate the entertainment of this show, And too bad we can't get Rumpus on here. He's probably
Rumpus,
sleeping in one of
another
his seats.
scientism believer. You guys need to realize one thing.
He's got more
is
truth
that
than you ever will.
guys, listen to me. Every one of us, whether you're a globe believer or a flat believer, one thing applies to all of us, and that's death. Wouldn't you be concerned more about what happens after you die if, just if it is true? Are you really willing to risk that for eternity? That is the question. And Robbie Davison definitely back me up on that.
Sounds like fear porn.
Can I just say in response?
What was that, Nathan? I'm sorry.
Sounds like fear porn.
Just run it now, because otherwise it'll be
They repent.
Fear porn?
Yeah, like you're trying to scare me by saying I might face a life of eternal damnation.
I'm not trying to promote fear or anything like that. I'm just saying that there's certain things that are going to transpire, whether we believe in them or not, that are more important than the mere fact that if the earth is spherical or flat. Quite honest with you. Not that I'm denouncing the whole chat. I love about it, and I think we should know what God created for our lives. But at the end of days, all that matters is salvation of one's soul, because it applies to every single one of us, whether we believe it or not.
Nate, can I just state my position at this point? I'd like to just tell people what my feelings are right now. I don't like the rhetoric, the religious stuff. I consider both sides of the heliocentric model and the religion point that's currently being discussed to be religious. And really, I'd say normally stop it. But on this one occasion, because Tim's in here, I'd say carry on and carry on and carry on, mate, because this is essentially the same point that Tim's making, but from a different perspective. One that's not got any evidence, one that's got a strong belief and an internal faith.
So let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you one question. Just one question. What would cross your mind, and what will just fill your whole psyche if you die and what I said happens to be true?
I'll come back and say you were right.
The mere fact that you're willing to risk that alone.
There are 50 other religions that all believe the same thing.
Dude, what's the most attacked religion and what's the most attacked person on the face of the earth? Christianity and Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Get your facts straight, bro. The enemy is very active, and the enemy, Satan, is much behind the globe of the earth because he wants to discredit God's creation. And Nathan, come on, brother. Back me up.
Troll.
Yeah, trolling. Not even Tim lays it on this thick.
No, this is truth. With a capital T in the middle of a sentence.
No, this is opinion.
That's the same thing. What Sleeping Warrior is saying to you is the way you're asserting it is the same as Tim, which is to say this is true. But ultimately speaking, if push came to shove, I know Tim has admitted in the past that it's a belief. If push came to shove,
are you going to obey man or God?
Just let me get to the end of my sentence. So I've done this with Tim. When push comes to shove, he does admit that he's got a belief. He does. Whereas you're saying, this is fact, F-A-C-T, fact.
It doesn't matter. No. What I'm saying is a fact, whether I believe it or not. Like, whether I become, Buddhist or whatever it is, it doesn't take away from the fact that someone quoted this same quote, and I quote, no amount of belief makes something a fact.
Correct. So what you just said is a fact.
Can you believe in fact?
Of course.
Yes, you can believe in a fact.
Hang on. What makes you so certain that there is any God?
I'll tell you. The way I'm feeling about you right now, and all of you.
That's proof you have feelings.
Let me tell you guys, Nathan, I love you more than my life.
I love you too, man.
And I love all you guys more than my life. So it is crucial, it is paramount for me to disclose the truth of salvation, because every single one of us on this panel believes in salvation. We may not agree that Jesus Christ is the way, but we believe in salvation because we know that we know that we know that we know. And the Bible says, if you ask God for wisdom, he will give it to you. Just ask. Get on your knees, brother.
NASA says the Earth's a
That's it.
sphere. NASA says they've got it written down in loads of books.
Guys, we should be on our knees right now, thanking God that all of us have 2 arms, 2 legs, and we're okay. And you guys are, dude, God will disclose the truth regardless of our opinion.
Right.
He will disclose the truth, but that depends on our personal relationship with Christ. That's it.
He's in full-blown retard mode, right?
guys, but you see, that's the love of Christ, though. That's the mind of Christ. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I wish I was there with you guys, because I would just be like, can I make some iced tea? You guys are the best. You guys, I'm gonna go on mute. Nathan, you're doing God's work indirectly, just to let you know.
Thank you very much. But if you were to offer me an iced tea, I would thank you. I wouldn't thank God.
It depends on whether you survived.
No poison. Thank God. Just a lot of sugar. I hope you're not diabetic.
Oh my God. So you did
Everyone's
actually go
entitled to their
full-blown
belief.
retard then,
He's
didn't you?
entitled to
You
his
actually
opinions.
lost the ability to listen.
He's gone on mute. He's he'll listen now, I'm sure. He's got it all out. That's the main thing. Everyone's entitled to their belief.
They are. They are. Apart from
I
flat
have a
earthers,
tough
of course,
time.
we're not allowed to have that view.
I appreciate your guys' patience and tolerance.
Nobody
Flat Earth's
says
not a belief.
you guys aren't allowed to believe what you believe. I've never said that.
No,
I
you
just say
never
you're
said
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I've never heard you say that.
Fair enough.
P-Mars does, though. P-Mars doesn't like anybody having a different view.
Yeah, than him. He's so well-read and stuff.
He was really easily triggered the other day. I can't remember what it was that was triggered him, but Nathan said something in one line. P-Mars went from normal person to crazy boy in one line. I can't remember what it was.
I like P-Mars a lot. He gets a lot of undue shit, does P-Mars. And yes, he's got his funny ways, and yes, he's very boisterous with his opinions, shall we say, and he's easily triggered. Ah, here we go, talk of the devil.
Hey, P-Mars. What's up, buddy?
K-Mars.
I read this story yesterday about a deer who got a bull stuck on his head, and the other deer were shunning this deer. But I mean, really, that deer was just like someone with an alternative cosmology, right? And we should be better as humans than deer society. So we shouldn't shun people. We shouldn't shun people for being different.
Yeah, allow people to be deers.
We should include them.
Good
I love
you.
everyone. You guys, you guys are my brothers. Like, you guys are my brothers, man. That's it. Period.
Jesus Christ gave us the ability to be better than deers. And we should strive to have a better society than the deers. The deers don't accept different deers with bowls on their heads, but we should accept different people with weird cosmologies.
It's actually cosmogony, because they believe
Cosmogony.
the Earth being flat.
Thank you, comrade.
They have no cosmology, actually. It's just like, oh, there's lights in the sky or whatever.
So yes, that's a very good message. Very important, P. We should be better than the deer people.
That's what I'm saying.
The deer people love bread, so I have a bunch of French baguettes for everyone.
Baguettes for everyone, evidence for no one.
Well, at least we eat.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter. Good point. True start of the new year, in my opinion.
Let the grace of God be with all of you and your families and loved ones.
Nathan, what's the weather doing? Is it really bright and crystal clear for you today?
Nah, crap. Crap.
No, we've got a lovely day.
You're heading off to St. Bees today, aren't you?
We are.
What time are you heading off?
After the show.
Have you got any plans for observations?
Yeah.
What's your
We're going to
plans?
be observing how low we can go when we're observing the flashing Mako lighthouse. That's basically where Miles Davis did his observation from, on a ball that really shouldn't be there. Me and Nathan had a big disagreement over the interpretation of why we could see it. And I decided that the best thing I could do would be to go down as low as I could and see how low I can go before I can no longer see it. And the argument was that at that height we were at, Nathan's view was that the ballers could interpret this a ball earthy way and claim victory by consensus. Now, I said that it was 50-50 at best, but I agreed that it would be a claim of victory, and by consensus they would win the point, which of course is devoid of the facts. So I said I was going to go back and do the observation, but from the lowest point that I could get it.
Can you just,
before
you go on, Anthony, can you just explain what observation you're actually talking about?
Well, I think it was Miles Davis, I think it might have been Al Kay, but it was one of them two, got the Mako lighthouse from different heights, and one of them said to me, you cannot get it from the lowest elevation point, and I'd already got it, but I hadn't documented it because I didn't realise it was important, but I knew I could see it. So I'd challenged Nathan to come with me at night time and watch it, and with his own two eyes, witness the flashing Mako lighthouse from the lowest elevation, which one of them had said that we would never be able to do. Now, the problem with that is it's supposed to be behind the curve of the Earth. So we could see this light, and we've documented it and evidenced it. However, it's also in this band that could be interpreted by ballers to be subject to and the cause of the Fresnel lens effect, or the Fresnel zone, in that the beam of light we're looking at could be argued to be merely 10 miles away, because the focal range of the lighthouse is 20 miles. So we'd actually only be looking at light 10 miles away. And because of the Fresnel lens, Nathan is quite correct. They could argue that fairly and claim victory by consensus. So I decided that I agreed with Nathan. Even though I didn't agree with his interpretation, I agreed with him that I wouldn't do anything serious about it because they would do that. However, the position is not the same if I can get down onto the beach at high tide or close to the water level at high tide and still see the lighthouse. Now, I'm pretty certain I'll still see it. That will kind of rule out the idea that there's a wall of water in front of us. It'll rule out the idea that there's a curvature of the Earth involved. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be an angle on it, but the angle will be a lot less argumentatively persuasive on the boulder side if I'm right, just basically just above the water level. So that's
sleeping.
Yo.
Just one thing, real fast. Drop the Trees has just rung my doorbell. Oh my god.
What,
you drunk, bro?
What did he say then? I didn't quite catch what he said.
Tough to Trees is Tim Osman.
Tough to Trees?
Yeah, that was your account, isn't it?
Yeah, but Tough to Trees and Tough to Trees backup.
Yeah, that was one of your best moments on the debate.
It was.
That turned into
sorry, guys. Sorry. The delivery was very poor. Sorry, guys.
I didn't catch what he said. What did Globe say at the end?
8 people on the panel. Tough to Trees comes on.
Drop the Trees was like the best troll ever. Yeah.
It was funny. That literally stopped that whole conversation in its tracks while we all had a giggle. Like kids.
Dude, it broke the flatter internet.
Let's be fair, that's fair trolling. That's good trolling.
Nice.
The only compliment I'll ever give you though, Tim, so enjoy it.
Well, there's trolling and there's trolling, isn't there? There's your low level dickhead trolling, which is just spamming your chat, never joining the panel. And then there's trolling like joining us Tough to Trees when there's a really heated conversation about exactly that subject. So that's proper trolling. That's like well thought out trolling. I appreciate that sort of trolling, if I'm honest. That's good.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It was funny. It broke the moment. It was funny.
Nice.
Yeah, so anyway, my point was, if we can get it down to the beach and observe it at just above the water level, which I'm pretty sure we'll get, that'll prove that there's no sphericity. Because it goes so much in favor of flat Earth that it doesn't become favorable for the ball earthers. This Fresnel lens effect isn't going to bend light so severely that it bends it down to our level on the beach. But obviously, that's the argument that they will argue. They will argue the refraction effects because of the temperature and the gradient and all this little bit of 7.6R nonsense will be the argument, but it becomes more remote. And I'll remind them of it. And that's probably one of the key points. The other thing I'll be doing is getting my camera, my phone, and my partner's phone, and taking the angle from where that little concrete slab was, because RK got it to 26.5 degrees, and I'm going to get 2 other cameras to see what value they get, to see are they the same, because they should be the same if it is accurate and reliable and credible. And obviously we know that they're not going to be the same. How much of a difference, who knows? But we're going to try it and see what happens, just to see how, basically, whether or not accurate that measurement was. They're the 2 main things that I'm going to try.
Cool.
Cat, Earth.
Cat Earth?
I mean, by now, cats are bound to fucking just... I apologize. To knock things off, that's my first strike ever, to knock things off the edge of the Earth. I mean, cats were responsible for 99.99998% of things. Do you guys don't know this?
66.6% of statistics are made up on the spot.
Got it. Damn. That's an actual thing. Okay.
That's
it was 18th, but, you know.
Real statistic, because I made it up myself.
Yeah, of course.
So it turns out that I'm going to play a game of chess with someone. I'm very deep into chess. Very deep.
You on chess.com?
All right.
You on chess.com?
Chess.com, and also this one app that I use a lot here, which is Chess Time.
What's your ranking on chess.com?
I was on redhotpawn.com years ago.
You normally get a number, like 16,286 or something.
Put it this way, I can carry a game, maybe 20 games into it, like e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop e5, a6, and, you know, like, it's to a science, just like everything else is. But at least I can verify it because it's right in front of me. So, it's flat. The Earth is flat, just like God created it. Let us believe in God. Because times are getting rough, guys. You can see it. I can see it. You can deny it all you want. That's fine. It's still occurring. And let every man be a liar, but God be true. It's not worth the risk, guys. It's just really not worth the risk. It just really isn't. Because if you die, that's it. I mean, you can't go back and be like, oh, you know, let me rectify my issues with my family and all these things, and my hatred and all my sinful nature. No. That doesn't happen. You know? It just doesn't happen, guys. And I love you enough to tell you this, and to make myself look like a fool amongst 1,000 people to proclaim the news of Jesus Christ, because he is the only way to the salvation of our souls. That's it. Period. You want to risk it? Go right ahead. When you die, or when Jesus Christ comes back, we are going to bear witness for this. Every one of us.
According to the Bible.
Nathan, Thomas, rather. You're so doubtful. Why are you so doubtful, Nathan?
I'm inquisitive.
Has something happened in your life that God didn't come through? And you questioned?
I'm inquisitive about it. So
his authority?
I'm having the same conversation currently with Quantum Eraser, and you can probably detect from my tone that I'm a skeptic in this regard. And he's trying to convince me with he's trying to convince me with proof. So he's literally put together a presentation on proof of God, and he's going to present it. I think it's Tuesday. He's going to present it on Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, so you can all watch. I am skeptical.
Are you serious? Oh my god!
Is that John? Quantum
Eraser? Quantum Eraser.
That's pretty cool. What the
heck? I agree. I'm interested.
What's his independent variable that Jesus is coming back?
Well, that's what he's going to show. That's exactly what he's going to show, P-Mars. Joking aside. Not that Jesus...
That'd be interesting to hear, truthfully.
Yeah, I agree. A fascinating subject, which is why I've agreed to do it. So, hopefully lots of people will tune in and either pick it apart for exactly the reason that P. Mars has picked it apart, or realise the obvious truth that there is a creator. Who knows? We shall see.
Wow. I can't believe he's going to, say that there's actually proof.
Whoa. I think, to be honest, I think that there is proof of creation. Proof of God being that creator. That's debatable. Massively contentious. But I think the creation proof is all around us. I mean, the moon, for me, is evidence of creation by somebody or something.
And the Word of God says that the heavens declare the glory of God.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not saying I buy into and accept that, but I can see the point, and I don't disagree with that point. For me, the celestial bodies.
The initial act of rejection should be a testament to our depravity.
Can't you logically prove God exists with like the prime mover shit, or Aristotle?
That's the prime what?
Logically prove
the prime what?
There's no name. There's no name. No
prime
name.
mover is Aristotle's idea of God, because like the heavens are in motion, so he thought the first thing to set the heavens into motion would be God. That didn't like it can move itself, because like Newton's laws of motion, like something you has to have energy applied to it to move or whatever. You can't. So yeah, the Aristotle just reasoned through logic that there was this prime mover to start the movement of the heavens was what God is or whatever. So I don't know. That makes sense to me. Like I think it's really illogical to think that things are just random and everything's an accident. I think that's irrational.
Well, I think that's Quantum Eraser's basic argument, or he showed me the bare bones of the argument already and went through a little bit of it with me. And he essentially puts it forward that the two are mutually exclusive. You can't. It's either one or the other. It's either come out of existence from nothing, Big Bang, or it's been created, and you can't. There are only two choices according to him, and that's the bit where I say, well, maybe there's a third choice, and he's staunch and adamant and has showed me and demonstrated why there isn't. There's only those two choices. So if you can disprove one, you're only left with the other, and that's what he'll basically be presenting. So it will be interesting to have a look at, and
Yeah, well, I've not ruled against the idea that we could be living on in a massive bubble at the bottom of an ocean somewhere.
Technically, the Big Bang doesn't say that we came from nothing, though. It just
the Big Bang doesn't promote an ontological nothing.
You cannot create order from disorder. Period. You cannot create.
So if he says that, he's wrong off the bat. It's not promoting an ontological nothing turning into everything that we see in existence.
It's basically just to explain why everything is moving away from us. That's why they.
Who out of the 5 people, right? 5 people right now believe in God? Who?
No.
I believe in God.
Then. Who does? Pete?
I believe in God. Yeah.
Okay. So
Tim, what's your view?
I don't believe in his God.
But you believe
the God of Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob?
Sorry, just to tie this down, just so we've got.
I'm an agnostic.
So you're agnostic.
No, Nathan, listen to me, Nathan. You, out of all people, know exactly what I'm talking about because you were brought up in this truth. You know what, Nathan? Nathan, you are accountable at a higher standard than most people, Nathan, because you know more than most people. So you are held at a higher standard.
That's not true. I don't know more than most people at all. But in terms of Christianity, yes, I had a very
I
Christian
just love you guys
upbringing.
anyways. Who wants to play chess? I play chess. Who wants to play chess? Let's do it. Come on. All right,
Just
I'm done.
having a Christian upbringing doesn't mean that I'm more for Christianity than anybody else. The first thing I did when I found out
I
about flat Earth,
understand that, but you had the opportunity to investigate other beliefs. You understand other beliefs. You know within your heart, because it lays heavy on you, that Christ is the life. You know this. There's no knowledge
in the
that can
heliocentric
deviate
model,
from
Helios is the life. The sun creates
Praise
life.
Helios.
Praise Helios. Exactly.
this. Nathan,
Thanks, Tim. See you later.
Nathan, this is a feeling you're having. This is a feeling you're having that the only person that knows right now on this panel is me. I'm telling you, your heart lays heavy on the truth because you know better.
No Globe.
Simply.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What do you think the probability is that you scared Tim off with your rhetoric?
I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he's probably gone back to bed.
I didn't realize there wasn't even Tim on the panel.
Okay.
Not to sound like a dick or anything like that. I'm just saying, like,
That's
I mean,
right.
I'm just speaking
he's not famous.
for,
He's just infamous.
hey guys, you guys have a lot of debaters on this channel, and that's awesome. Like Nathan says, subscribe and like so we have a more diverse panel, and I'm for that. I am 100% for that. But you need to understand one thing, is that you need to keep track of the people that their story never changes over the courses of decades, over the courses of lifetime. It all leads to Christ. You have to be like, come on, guys.
Are you saying that the Bible hasn't changed? I mean, my dad wrote a play about a guy called Tyndale who did the translations of the Bible, and one of the things he drew attention to in the play was that the priests at the time embellished the Bible to a massive extent, and the example he used was of the circumcision of Christ. And in the embellished stories which were given to the people by the priest, it was a great big huge affair with people, and it was a big do for the circumcision. In reality, it was one line in the Bible where it said it came to the time that the child should be circumcised. But that one sentence had been embellished. So you're saying the stories remain consistent. Well, no, they don't. They get embellished.
Well, Nathan, you should know better than anyone else that the law and the grace are two different paradigms, right?
What are two different paradigms, sorry?
Yeah. The law and the grace are two different paradigms.
I talked over you again.
In the creation.
Say it again.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I talked over you when you told me which... Can you define the two things again? Sorry.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Wow. I drew a blank. I'm so sorry, guys. Somebody
you said you were comparing two different paradigms. So what are the two paradigms? I just didn't pick up on what you said.
I can't really recall, before that.
No worries.
Let's see here. Okay, so let me just get to the source then. If I'm doubtful what I'm talking about right now, let's just get to the source. And the point of all this that we're enduring as individuals, because I'm sure that all of us in this panel are suffering between...
Bummer. Bummer, eh?
Did you get
No, we had about. They've taken to joining in a squad of about 10 people all at once now. That said,
Yeah.
we've lost P Mars, who'll undoubtedly rejoin on a different account, or I can add him on Skype. But the link's still open, people can still join. Just means that all the trolls that just joined won't be able to rejoin if I don't start a new one. So for the time being, at least, I'll just leave this one open.
I think we were spurred at that moment because it was like full on Reverend No Globe moment.
You got P Mars on your account? Can you add him?
I don't think I have actually.
It's alright, I'll add him.
LMNOP. I don't know what his name is on Thingy, so I'm not sure.
Well, I would just say it, but last time I did that, he was like, "You've just doxed me," and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yep. Yeah. Oh, what was it again?
You're back.
Astro the moon.
Hello, No Globe. How come you managed to get back in?
I do the kind of stuff because I don't know. It's a talent.
Now, I mean, if you snipe, normally you can't return to the call, but you've managed it somehow.
I find loopholes.
Oh, tell
You know
us
what a
about
loop is? A loop never ends. So
us.
if you find a loophole, that means that a loophole never ends. If you can't find a loophole that never ends, then you're not a loopholer. I am.
So
So
how
I
have
could
you,
find
how have you
loop.
how have you worked your way back in then? How have you managed it?
Hey, Nathan, how do you snipe?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Okay.
Okay, this is going totally weird.
That's all right. That's today's show.
It really
all
is.
different.
It's not that serious. Hey guys, how's it going? That's my second snipe to date. The
Second
first
time you've been
snipe, I
involved
managed to
in a-
get back on. Just try and hangouts in and out, and be like 25 times, and eventually it got connected. So if you guys ever get sniped, my
Look at the
experience
comments in
so
chat.
far is just to keep trying, and eventually it might click. That is.
We've got about 25 minutes, maybe a little bit less left on this live stream. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box below this video once it has rendered. Most importantly though, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you're currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as this increases the live audience, of course, and that in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There is around 25 minutes left on this live stream.
Guys, you're the best. It's Easter, guys. We should be joyful. We should be ecstatic.
I am joyous.
That Christ resurrected. Oh my God, what's wrong with me?
Christ was
Nathan?
resurrected.
Resurrected in His glory to redeem us. Like, I mean, guys, like, this is a big deal. This is bigger than the flat Earth and curvature Earth, like, hands down. Nonetheless, I mean, lying about where you live is a big deal, and I'm definitely for exposing the powers that be that tell us otherwise. Like, I mean, because God is not a God of confusion. God gives us the awesomeness of free will. We decide, but God won't let us waste our lives in falsehood. So we need lead by the Spirit, guys. The Spirit is something that can be put into words, but it's an understanding, a mutual understanding. And
I think this is where Nathan needs a bit of space fill whilst he addresses them all.
Just doing a bit of ejecting. There we go. Bye-bye, trolls. They have kicked no globe, though.
Do you think there's a correlation with Tim disappearing off to bed, apparently, and this? 10 minutes later, boosh.
I don't think he can join by the 10. This is just a group of people who are all on Discord at once going, now! I think you summed it up perfectly the first time it happened.
Shout out to Chris MCM. Nick with Noel.
Yeah, Waz says, don't do crack, kids.
Ian Matheson says, is it looking good for tonight? The weather where I am right now at home is brilliant, so I would say yes. But I don't know what it's like up there, but I would say yeah, because I don't need a mega clear night to see it. It just needs to be like not cloudy or misty, foggy.
I hope you get some good observations while you're up there.
I just want to see how low I can go before I can get that lighthouse disappearing by some dirty air or something like that. Something that obstructs what we see.
I think you'll get it from the beach. I think you will get it.
Yeah, I think I'll get it from the beach because it wasn't that much lower than where we were anyway.
No.
That little slopey thing.
It was exciting when we got it from that position.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it's just very exciting. I think the way it ended up being captured was, rather than trying to point it in the random direction of where the lighthouse flashes, Spurs was there and he stood in line with it. So there's like 3 points: the camera, Spurs, then the lighthouse. And I think your missus basically focused on him, and then he moved out of the way. So it gave her something to focus on prior to the light flashing, and then she caught it. Is that right?
Hey, yeah, that's basically, as far as I understand, that's it, yeah. Hey, Paper Explanator, any evidence for the distance of the stars yet? Shout out to Shroomy in chat. And that's about it, really.
Shroomy did a live stream yesterday.
He did? He did?
I went in and spammed it.
He wanted me to go in, but I was like, what do you mean? You want me to, join a panel? I was surprised.
Hey guys, how's it going?
You back? How you doing? Good to see you again.
That's it? Did we get sniped like right before I joined?
Yeah, I'm surprised you can keep rejoining.
Where's everyone else at? All I see is my stupid curvature, which I discussed.
There is no curve.
There is no stellar parallax either, Paper Explanator. Moron.
What the heck? Where's your avatar?
Oh, mine?
Your move, bro. Oh, that's how you feel? Ah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm playing a game of chess. I'll mute myself.
All good, man.
Nick's asking for evidence of no stellar parallax. Well, if there is no stellar parallax, you're unable to provide evidence. What you guys are showing is the flexation in the dome. Can you prove that it's not? All the stars are fixed in their position. There is no parallax. Betelgeuse and Sirius are next to each other in the skies. One is 7 light years away. The other one is, from memory, 464 light years away. The distance is colossal.
Light doesn't travel the way we think it does. E does not.
No, I agree.
E does not equal mc squared. That's it.
I
light
agree.
dissipates.
I don't know what light
Much
does
more
or
before
how
than
light
what we
works,
think.
but I know that it doesn't travel in straight lines the way we're told.
Nathan, save me.
Nick, have you got any evidence for Betelgeuse parallax that's not Wikipedia? Actual evidence showing the parallax in 2 locations in the solar system at different times of the year and proving that the parallax is the way that you describe it. However, because I'm going to claim that it's the flexation caused by the heat and the convection currents caused by the the dome that's over our head. Can you prove any otherwise? No. A published astrophysics paper. Yeah, so there's no real evidence then, is there? It's on a paper. Someone says it, so it's true.
Yo, I'm back online. I thought it was a troll. My bad.
It was. I just kicked him.
Why do I cherry pick MIT papers?
Legit. Is he legit? No. Yeah, so I was like, okay, so then.
Why don't you join, Nick? Why don't you join and ask these questions directly, rather than being
He's
a
a
chat
keyboard
troll?
warrior.
Awesome.
He also has a very young sounding voice and he doesn't want people to think that he's 21. I don't know how old he actually is.
Nathan, my name's Isaiah, not Isaiah. Even though I like Isaiah.
Didn't actually know your name.
Isaiah. Like chapter 53 of Isaiah, that he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities, and the punishment that brought you and I peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed. That is an understanding that transcends all human understanding. And Nathan, I may sound like a lunatic, crazy man, but you know I'm not.
I don't know you from Adam. What are you talking about?
I just love you, period. I mean, you guys are great. Like, for many months, and I can't get enough of it because you guys are just proving God's creation, and to me, that's awesome. I mean, you guys are awesome. That's
Nathan, I've come to a deduced conclusion about this guy. He's actually trolling.
No, I'm not trolling.
You found a way to get around being kicked. Now, there is only one way that I know, but to know that means that you must be in the know somehow. And if you're in the know somehow, that means that you're up there, not down there, and you appear to be trolling.
No, I may appear that because, guys, I've had a couple beers. I'm not gonna lie. But at least my end result is consistent than most tards. It's not gonna change.
It's evidence for stellar parallax. I'd really like to see it because I'm calling bullshit. There is no evidence for parallax, and you would see it in the Beetlejuice against Sirius.
Was just trolling. Sorry, the rig.
Is that who that was, the rig?
No. So the rig says, "You got me, Nathan Oakley. There is no curve. We see it because it's there." And earlier he said, "I'm a flatty now." I don't know if he's just... I don't know what he's doing.
Trolling.
He's trolling, maybe.
They can never turn coat. They can never turn coat. They have to stick... Even if... I mean, look at Dawn Treader. He admits and accepts that 9/11 probably didn't happen the way we're told. Doesn't suggest what might have happened, but accepts that it probably didn't happen the way we were told because he says it was something magic that happened that day.
I'm sorry.
Which is a fair comment, but you can't really have that view if you're going to accept the dogma that comes from the authoritative state on all the other matters, like the shape of the Earth, landing on the moon, even like more mundane things like the Sandy Hook. All them things are all coming from the state. They're all coming from the same source. You can't pick and choose the ones that you accept. You either accept the ones that come from official state lines, or you question them. And if you start questioning them as a ball earther, then you're undermining the authority that is your ball because you're challenging the authority that is telling you that 2 planes can cause 3 buildings to collapse. That's a paradox that you cannot have as a baller because you are challenging the authority that's telling you that which you are meant to believe to be true.
But he's talking to people, so I think he's going to chat with IPS, or has done already. This is Dawn. And he, when asked, do you believe in the Tesla in space, said, no, I'm a bit uncertain about that, to be honest. So at least he was honest. And he said, I'm 99% convinced it's a sphere.
Really?
Yeah,
99% convinced.
That's what he said. 99% convinced, which isn't 100% convinced, which he should be, and evidently so when he says he doesn't believe there's a Tesla floating around in space, which there isn't.
I was more surprised by the value he gave at 99. I mean, 99%, and he's seen all the ball Earth proofs, like none, and he's seen all the flat Earth proofs, like hundreds, and that only created a 1% doubt. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah, you've got his entire life being educated that it's a sphere. Everybody in the common world that he encounters believes it's a sphere. Everything he's shown on TV shows it's a sphere. So, yeah, I totally understand that position.
No. Perhaps I didn't explain myself well.
You're saying because he's seen the flat Earth evidence side of it as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a
That's
normie.
only created
Top
1%
of the building
of doubt
should
in
be
his
a
mind.
different measurement, and they're the same.
What's the same?
The base and the top of buildings, remember? Measured after like over 300,000 kilometers. There's no curvature, guys. Lasers prove it. Light proves it. I mean, are we going to believe in God or are we going to believe in man? Are you going to obey God or are you going to obey man? That's the question that lingers. May the peace of Christ be with all of you.
Woz has just said crickets to me. What's he on about? What for missed from Woz? Woz, cool. How do we calculate the difference? I'm working through an issue with it. Thought you might be able to help out with the calcs. What's Woz said before that? Hang on. Woz. There we go. Does the horizon rise to eye level on a flat Earth? It rises to eye level, but for a negligible amount at the horizon, caused by the effects of refraction, compressing and converging what we see. Negligibly, no, but practically, yes. All the flat Earth proofs are in Riley's pudding.
Hey guys, if you guys gain the whole world and all the riches, and you get all the properties and all this awesome territorial domain, like it doesn't matter, guys, because without love, we're nothing. Where does love derive from? It derives from the fucking sacrifice, guys.
Please don't swear.
Excuse my French, but I am so angry with the way we are. As the Israelites didn't believe, witnessing the power of God in front of their eyes, and they weren't scientists, for God's sake. Name a scientist that's witnessed a supernatural experience on a daily basis. The Israelites did.
This is the trolling Nathan right now.
Reality, or risk it all, and we lose our soul. Like, guys, we really, it's just not a matter, it's not a matter of physicality. This battle is mental. It has been mental since the beginning of time. If you govern the mind, everything else follows suit.
I've not seen. Oh, how do we calculate the difference? I'm working through an issue with it. I'm trying to find your question. I don't see a question from me that I've not responded to. Perhaps if you'd retype it so I can see it now I'm watching chat.
Or just join Just ask him.
I don't sit here watching the chat all the time. I flick it on and off especially when I'm on. When I'm in the Hangout, I don't really get a chance to watch the chat. because I'm watching the back door. But when I'm not in the Hangout, when I'm on Skype, I have a lot more time, so I can see the chat more. Alexander Lightwater, he acts as a missionary, and I agree with Riley that he's equivalent to a troll. He is a troll. However, he's the opposite of the troll for the ball Earth, and it's nice to hear a change in speed. However, it makes me feel slightly uncomfortable in the stomach when I even get in full-on 5th gear speed. But it's no different to the same feeling that I get when I hear people like the Rumpus talking about refraction, or Paper Explanator talking about the distance to the stars. I get the same feeling when they start waffling on about their nonsense, of which none of it is
the
based
stars
on
have been proven holographic. You see the stars at a ground level, you go up in altitude, they disappear.
Not according to Tim. Tim reckons that the stars can be seen at height. Although, again, he doesn't produce any evidence to support his assertion.
Show me a video. Show me a video. Show me your own personal video. It's not going to happen because it doesn't exist.
Sorry, Woz, have I missed your question? No, I haven't. I've not seen Woz respond yet.
Space is a made-up thing. Understand, guys, these people are getting $53 million a day. You really have to calculate. This is $18.7 billion a year, annually. Come on, guys. I would lie to my own mother. I told you guys this. If I was that person to be swayed by deception to the point that, you know what, you have to sacrifice children at the altar of Satan to better your life. These people are doing it, guys. These people are doing it.
I tell you what, let me address something that's is it bothering me enough to mention it? No, actually it's not, because it's not. It bothers me enough to mention it, but I don't want to give any credit to, or any acknowledgement to the person that's responding to it. So the guy that has 0 trolls, that is, his name is the repetition of his first name. I'm not even going to say your name. I really want to address that, but I'm not going to do, because I just don't want to give you any naming on the panel. So I'll just shut up now, because I really wanted to respond to it, but I'm not going to do.
The library really opened up at 7. What time is it like?
About 60 seconds left, if anyone wants to round out with a point.
Oh, 60 seconds left. Let me take that. All right, in that case, I am qualified and I can get onto a PhD course if I really wanted to. I need to do 2 more credits, both of which start at the beginning of the PhD course because of my my qualifications to date. And this all started from, what's his name, Nick with Noel claiming that, but no flat earthers had any. By the way, I didn't do that, Nathan. Somebody else has done that. Claiming that no flat earthers were academically successful. That's not true. There are people with academic success. It's complete nonsense, Nick.
So with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully for sharing this debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!